Hey you, this is Christina Suter with the Real Estate Breakthrough. So, we're going to give you 50 different tips, tricks, and extra stories about how you can be successful in real estate. Your experience and other people's experiences are the ways that you help to ensure your success as a real estate investor. So, listen carefully. Some of these tips might save you in the future. I am Christina Suter, and this is the Real Estate Breakthrough Show, where we talk about the reality of real estate, the mindset you need in order to face the reality of what it is, and tips and tricks to get you moving forward in investing. I am your host, Christina Suter.
Two things, really. Number one, it taught me to get past the fear threshold of talking to people, outdoors, doing whatever it took. We targeted the business and medical professions with disability insurance, and then would bridge to life insurance. And the other thing it did was it taught me taxes. I took all the courses I could on estate planning, taxes, but the whole time I was there, I kept buying houses. And so finally one day I said, why am I doing this? And I resigned and kept with the houses. I think I bought 7 houses while I went through real estate broker school, sold the 7 houses, and then manage them for the people I'd sold them to.
I think, at some point when you're making a certain amount of money and you're not worried about paying your bills,
right?
Then you have some time to look deeper and explore whether you're really happy, because happiness was a luxury I didn't have before. It was all about survival. And once I shifted from survival mode to the next step was actually to look and see, am I happy?
My schedule pretty much worked around what I need to do and what I want to do, primarily what I want to do, who I want to be with, and what times I want to do that. And that's ultimately the best thing about freedom right there. It's not how much money. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still probably, am I going out to fancier restaurants? Am I buying bigger cars, bigger houses? No, we don't want a bigger house because my 2 kids are growing up and leaving. When do I want a bigger house?
Right.
I mean, you can do things with the community. There's things I'm kind of focused on in the second chapter here, but really, it doesn't take a lot to get to there. And when you get there, it's so precious.
So all we're doing is adding one step in your financial life. I'm not going to ask you to change anything that you're doing. Don't change how you're investing, right? I'm not going to ask you to work harder, change your cash flow, take any additional risk, or lose control of your money. We're just going to add one step into your financial life, and it'll drastically change and increase your financial wealth.
Unfortunately, a lot of people focus on budgeting. They're focused on how do I cut back expenses, buy a few fewer Starbucks lattes or whatever the case is, so I have more at the end of the month to put towards investing. If you cut back on your expenses, you're being frugal, maybe cheap, you're budgeting, and the hopes is that you're going to have more at the end of the month. Problem with that is you cannot save yourself to wealth. You cannot save enough. You cannot cut back enough to make a massive impact.
Right.
So what's the solution? It's not so much to cut back on expenses and reduce those. It's to increase your top line income, your revenue. So that means maybe a second job. Maybe it means starting a small business. Maybe starting a small business and making it into a big business. Whatever it may be, you want to increase the amount of revenue or income coming in and control your expenses in order to have more deployable, investable cash at the end of the month, at the end of the year. And that's how you're going to fast track your investing career.
As people are coming in, them getting to say, you've changed my family's life, and what's next? That is so rewarding to have been a part of people's story, and has completely changed my life too. It's just very powerful, and I want to have that kind of impact on people. It's just, for me, money is not power. Money is freedom. Money means different things for different people. And to help other people realize their dreams and change families and generations is so cool.
What was interesting, I'll tell you the transition that had to occur. When you go after hardware stores, it's a process. So that you might take months to get the account.
Right.
When I sat in front of a buyer, I realized very quickly I became a one-call closer. Okay. So if somebody said, let me think about it, and I'd like, nah, I'd rather you say no for a good reason or yes today.
Right.
And so I would push for an answer, because have you ever noticed that, you'll talk to an investor and they say, hey, how you doing? They go, oh, I'm so busy. That's great. How many have you bought? Oh, I haven't bought any yet. but everybody loves me. And all they've never done is been able to call for an answer. You're better off with all no's, so you still have a clean slate, so you can stay busy with what might work.
Real estate and taxable wealth, when I went on my own, that was what I was trained to do. That's what I love. And I figured I'm going to see to make this work. And whether people are suffering and doing foreclosures, or whether they are now, doing well, doing 1031, there are tax strategies that I can use to help.
But here's the thing, we have got to be responsible for our own retirement, and not because it benefits me. I mean, let's just put it that
No, I love it. I hear you. I'm watching you step on the soapbox, and I want to hear you preach it, baby. Preach it. Talk to us about this, because I think it's true. I think there's accuracy to this. So preach it.
So you're going to live longer, because you're going to live longer than your parents. You're healthier. You've got better access to healthy food for the most part, and you take good care of yourself, and you go to a gym, you've got medical care, you've got so many advantages over human beings before us. So we're probably going to live longer. And I've done the math on this quite a long time ago, but if you have $100,000 saved, you might think, wow, I have a lot of money. $100,000 is a lot of money. But if you're 59 and a half and you're going to live till you're 86 and a half, and so you're going to take like an even monthly distribution, every month until then, it's only $400 a month.
It's okay.
So you need a lot of money to retire.
We're human, and these things impact us. And what it did for me is made me realize that life was short, and that there was no time to spare. If you want to live your life the way you want to live your life, you better start doing it.
Yeah, just doing it and just getting to it.
Yeah. And I thought, I want passive income because I want to be able to travel the world. I want to be able to spend time with my family. I want to be able to do what I want to do, not like sell my time all the time, be under stress all the time, and wait until the end to do something.
To do it. Yeah.
To do something. So I literally started Googling passive income. And when I started Googling it, all kinds of things came up, like intellectual property, royalties, real estate. But real estate kept coming up.
Well, real estate is not a property business, it's a people business, right? It's all about the people that you're dealing with. So you need to be dealing with good people. Great deals with bad people will be way worse than bad deals with great people. So that's super important. Is don't get so, you want to know what's at the root of the investment, the property, but the people are more important.
And all these things, like when I think back where I'm at right now, some days I'm like, dude, I haven't done anything in my life. I'm so far from my goals and my dreams and my vision that I have. And I think because your vision changes and grows over time, but then I go back and I tell people stories or I give people advice, or they ask me different things, and then it leads me to this memory. Dude, that was pretty cool. Like I did that. Like how did I do that? Like even just, okay, they're raising $500,000 cash. I guess that's already pretty cool in and of itself. Like that's like one of the first things that I did. And like all these things that I got my teeth kicked in along the way learning. But here's one of the things. I was doing that, going to work, working full day, coming home, trying to maintain some sense of balance in my life. Sharon, I still laugh about it because I had a treadmill and I had a whole gym in my garage. And I would bring a ladder and put it backwards against the treadmill where the paint thing is, and I put my laptop on there while I'm on the treadmill and I'm looking at comps and I'm submitting offers and I'm doing these things till like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then going back to the office the next day like nothing's going on, right? And I got connected with this lady. So I always tell people that whenever you present an offer or you ask a question, you got to make sure that it's in the other person's best interest, right? You're trying to lead them to a path of what it's in their best interest.
You have to find out, and especially as a good wholesaler, what are the needs and requirements of your motivated seller?
Yes.
As well as the needs and requirements of your buyers.
Right.
It's one and the same, because you need to try to match those up. That is huge.
Yes. And what do you want is huge, because you get, for me, I call it the story. You get the story that's associated with what they really need, which allows you to be into solution sets.
Correct.
Not in an argument.
Yes.
Right? Because if you say, what do you want to sell it for? They're going to come up with a number, and now you can argue about the number. Or you can be in solution set, which is, what do you need from it?
We didn't know that COVID-19 was coming, but we knew something was going to happen eventually. Like we were due for a recession. Again, I didn't expect it to be this, but so everything that we bought, we purposely bought with a longer time frame, saying, hey, if we get a recession or a dip in the middle, that's okay, because you don't lose money on real estate unless you have to sell at an inopportune time. As long as you can cash flow and hold on to it long enough, you will eventually come out okay, which is one of the beautiful things about real estate, because that mortgage keeps paying down, and eventually it'll get way down if you hold long enough. And again, typically, values do occasionally come down, but at least historically in this country, they eventually always will come back up. And with everything that's going on right now, it's hard. We're in a deflationary environment in the near term, but with $5 or $7 trillion of money being printed as we speak, it's hard to believe that there's not going to be some kind of inflation in the longer term, maybe 3, 4, maybe 3, 5, 10 years out. And if you own real estate, hard assets, then you're going to benefit from that.
From the inflation. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it comes down to, can you get back up? Can you do the right thing when there's adversity? And can you keep pushing and keep pushing? And I found that as soon as you change that mindset from hold my chest, to my wife, oh my God, how am I going to get out of this? To
die, right?
Yeah, to focus on the solution. It's going to be grinding out hard. But if you get through that, you are 10 times stronger and you persevere. And, there's not just been one instance of taking punches in the stomach or the face, so you learn over time. When I first got into lending, I took some properties back, and I was very nice to somebody when I shouldn't have been. He was lying to me in my face for 2 years or for a year and a half, and it cost me $300,000 just learning that hard lesson like that.
So since you were already following Bruce, what did and so you've gotten, I always call it the memo in the mail. Like, did somebody send you the memo that we were going to head into a downturn? And if you were following Bruce, then yes, you did. You were one of the people who did get the memo. So
that's actually So I was going to say, that's how FIBI started. Right? Because it was right at that time when everybody was like too euphoric about real estate. And then I was like making the call. I remember Jeremy and I saying, there's a lot of bad signs out there. And it was brutal because so many people were just, oh no, you got to buy. It's just a temporary hiccup. And we're like, no, this is serious. I went to see Bruce, and all the numbers made as much sense as they did when I first saw him when he did the California comeback. He did, the California, the meltdown. And I started to get out of Dodge. I started cleaning out my portfolio and moving to safer havens. And and I told Bruce this, I said, you really saved my life, my financial life.
Yeah.
Because you helped me grow my portfolio. And then much later, you helped me protect it.
People want to do two things, right? They want to make money, but more than make money, they want to not lose their money. Right? Wouldn't you agree, Christina?
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes,
and those are probably backwards, The first, when people are, I think when they're first getting into real estate, it's scary, right? I think before they've gotten involved with somebody, there's, you're entrusting your funds into the hands of somebody else. And if they're not proven, they don't have a track record, that's even, I think, a little more scary. So at the beginning, I had to basically just share with people the business model of how I was going to go through this process and protect their money along the way and earn them a return.
Do not fall in love with your tenants, okay?
Right.
That's what everybody does at the beginning. You have to treat this as a business and raise your rents at least every couple of years. I was talking to a lady the other day. She wants to put her house on the market. She lives in Anaheim. She has some tenants in there and she doesn't really want to kick them out. And I go, okay, well, it's a 4-bedroom house. How much are they paying for rent? $1,200. I go, $1,200? When's the last time you raised rent? Oh, Joe, I've never raised rent. These are the kindest, friendliest, for $1,200. I'll go rent your place.
I'll be kind and friendly and fix everything as well.
Yeah, no kidding. It's
for $1,200, yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's, I guess, one of the mistakes that people that are landlords make is you fall in love with the tenants. And, that's not, I'm not saying not to be respectful and nice to them. I'm just saying not to fall in love to them so that, you're able to raise the rents up every couple of years. without a concern.
Yeah, I'm sitting behind a desk at a middle-level management job, supervising multiple people, Toyota headquarters, Disney headquarters, and it's a great job, and no one should complain. But I knew in my heart that I was not maximizing my potential. You know, my passion was always investing. I was always doing a lot of it on the side. I was always watching CNBC every day at work. And I just didn't realize that that could be my full-time thing. Once I rotated my money from stocks and bonds into cash flow, I was going to just have the paycheck and the cash flow and just keep going that route. But I had a last straw moment in the corporate world in 07 with a new manager that when I changed divisions within Toyota. And that was the worst thing that happened to me at the time, but the best thing that happened to me in retrospect, right? And that's actually what gave me the courage to actually say, I've got the cash flow I can live off of if I want to. Let me give this a try for a year or two. So, you know, I'm a very low risk guy. So I had the cash flow coverage. I said, let me try it for a year or two, see what happens. And that's kind of been able to just continue on. And, you know, my main objective is to just continue to grow my cash flow snowball so I never have to go back to the corporate world. That's been from the start, since I left, from the day that I left the corporate world. And it continues today.
You know what I think's really cool about it is that everybody that's listening now, you know, aspiring real estate investor, experienced real estate investor, we all did something before. Except, I don't know, like Peter Fortunato started when he was 12 or whatever. But everybody else probably did something before.
Right.
And those somethings that we all did, they transfer.
Yeah.
You know, there's cool skill sets and methods. And that's why I always love to talk to people in any kind of business. You know, if I go out to eat, I'm looking at the business. I'm looking, what are they doing? You know, there's all these different methods. And I think people get really hung up on, oh, I need to go take a real estate class and see what so-and-so says. But, you know, it's important that you look at the things that you've already done that you've been good at. And how can that transfer over? Because speaking to your point about authenticity, it's who you are.
The more you give up to somebody else, the more we get into the habits of giving up freedom to somebody else, the less control we have, and the less ability to say, this is how I want my little corner of the universe to look. And if you have what it takes to start a company, to go out on your own with the business, whatever, you're being a good neighbor. You're being a good steward of the freedoms that somehow in this country we were lucky enough to be in this time during this experiment. And like, I can't imagine being willingly passive if I had the ability to do so otherwise. There are lots of people in this world that should work for other people, and they're not lesser for it in any capacity. And there are some incredibly talented people that work for other people, and we need them there.
Right.
And then there are some people who are just crazy enough to take on the impossible and start something new.
The benefits of real estate comparatively outweigh just tenfold compared to every other type of investment, because not only do you receive cash flow and appreciation if you're in the correct market, but you have tax advantages that you do not have with any other asset classes. So you can shelter that income, so you can make the income without paying taxes on it. And then you can also sell it and defer capital gains taxes, which you can't do on any other asset class. And so when you combine all of those together, like your example, you know, maybe your yield, right, or your total return is X, but when you factor into the tax advantages, it could be twice that.
This is Christina Suter with the Real Estate Breakthrough Show. You will find us on Spotify, iTunes. We're also on YouTube and Roku TV. Now, guys, make sure that you hit either the like button or the subscribe button. And here's why. It's not just because I'm an egotistical maniac that needs lots and lots of praise. It's because if this work is valuable and you believe other people should be able to participate in it, hear it, be impacted by it, and help them move forward in their real estate investing, your like and your subscribe will make sure that I get in front of more people. We'll make sure that this message gets in front of more people. Make sure that more people are successful in investing in real estate and their financial freedom for the future. This is Christina Suter on the Real Estate Breakthrough Show.